Hi, this is Mike Hasychak, and this is my training partner, Joe Culek. Today we're going to talk about Bram Frank's Desangut tool for self-defense. But before we get started, it's important that you know the federal, state, and local laws that pertain to using tools and knives for self-defense in your area. This video is for educational purposes. Our recommendation would be to seek out a qualified instructor to really learn the proper safety and technique that we're going to be discussing in this video. So with that, let's get started. Bram Frank is a world-class martial artist in combat harness and also a blade master who designs and makes his own tools for self-defense. You could check him out at cssd-sc.com. One of the things great about Bram's tools is when he designs them, he also makes a training drone that is an exact replica of the live tool that you would use for self-defense. And this is exactly, as far as the dimensions, the weight, exactly like the live tool. And as you can see, it doesn't have a sharp blade on it, so it's very, very safe for training. If you're somebody who is using practicing defanging the snake or whatever you're doing where you're actually going to have the blade out, it's great for training, and we use it all the time. And when we start getting into things like using it in jiu-jitsu for chokes and things like that, there's another company called takknife.com, T-A-K knife.com, and they make a polymer training soft version where if you're going to apply chokes and you're really pushing that where it would be metal if you're using the training drone into somebody's neck or something like that, it's soft and it's very safe to train with. So there's really some great opportunity to get very, very proficient with the training drones, both the one that Bram makes that matches his live tool, as well as Tack Knife's version. And now let's show you what the live version looks like. And as you can see, it's black. Now the training drone is red, so you'll always know that that's what the training drone looks like. They're always red. Now here's the black colored version of it. You can see how sharp, razor sharp, that blade is, and we've tested it, and it comes that way when you purchase it. So it's fantastic, and we're going to talk a little bit about why the design is the way it is in the next section. One of the things that we like about the design of Bram Frank's tool, the Desangut, is that it addresses the force continuum, or force multiplier, if you will. And what does that mean? Well, in most altercations, it may start out where there's some pushing and shoving. It may escalate to punching with your fists or kicking. And then in the worst case scenario, it could rise to a lethal altercation where you may have to deploy the blade on the tool. So one of the things that we like about it is that when you draw the drone out, and we're using the training drone for training purposes because it's completely safe, as we discussed before earlier in the video, you'll see that there is something called a ramp, named after Bram Frank. Some people call it a ramp, but what it does is it works like a ball-peen hammer. So as you're hitting, imagine yourself getting hit with that point of that ramp or bramp, and it's going to feel like a ball-peen hammer is hammering on you. And it's really good for disparity in force. For example, you may be fighting somebody who's much larger than you, somebody much younger than you, somebody more skilled than you, or it could be a woman versus a man, and it's a disparity equalizer in the force continuum. So that's one of the things that's kind of neat about it. And also, when you look at it, you can use it for scraping purposes as well. So you can scrape the skin with it, and that is used a lot for what we call pain compliance. If you have to move somebody to a different place or whatever you're doing, whether you're a law enforcement officer, you could use that to get somebody to to move. And then the other thing that it's used for is to open it kinetically. So you can see where Joe opens it in the forward grip, opens it in the reverse grip, and he can also use it to open up on his opponent, whether it be on my body or in a situation where he's just opening it up off one of the appendages. So this knife, the design of it is just so unique and so well thought out. And then the other thing you'll notice on it is there's a lot of jimping. And that jimping is used for gripping it for yourself, or using it to grip somebody else for pain compliance. So for example, if I'm out and I push Joe, he hits me, puts me in a finger lock, and he's got me in compliance. So this knife really, this tool really has so much design ingenious to it that we really like it, all aspects of it. Now, there's a couple other things. You can see where there is a thumb rest, and that thumb rest you could use to hit somebody with. So you'd be poking holes in them. And also, you could use it, you could use the ring. So we see the ring, where the ring, you can put your finger in the ring for retention purposes. So if you're drawing a firearm, you're able to hold on to your tool, use your firearm, and put your tool back in commission if the fight starts to de-escalate once you've taken care of the situation. So it's really fantastic the way it works. And you can hit with the ring as well, which gives you, a lot of force. That piece of metal getting hit with the ring, and you can do that in the forward position or the reverse position. One of the things that I really like about Bram Frank's Desangut tool is that you can integrate it no matter what system you train in. For example, Paul Vunak and Eric Paulson, that's who I've trained under for many years. Joe and I are both certified under Paul Vunak, and I have a representative instructor certificate from Eric Paulson. But I can take this tool, put it in my hand, and use it exactly the way I would use my hands in any of the techniques I train in and do. That includes anything in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, mixed martial arts, if you have any kind of a karate background, edged weapons, whatever it is, you could put this in your hand and use it. If you're a boxer, I mean, you've got, you're just putting it in your hand and using it as an extension of your hand. And that's what's really fantastic about it. So we're going to be demonstrating some techniques, rapid assault tactics, some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu techniques, and some other things that we've trained in the Filipino martial arts as well, to demonstrate the diversity of this tool. Now Joe and I are going to do a demonstration of some techniques using the Bram Frank Desangut tool. And we're going to start out with the most vulnerable position when somebody takes you down to the ground. Okay, in this situation, I'm in the worst case scenario where Joe has taken me down to the ground, gets on top of me. I'm going to put him in my guard. And now what I need to do is rock him to get him off balance. And I'm going to lift up his arm, move it over to my side, trap it, use my head to help trap the arm. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach for my Desangut, and I can do a couple things. I could use the thumb rest, which is at the bottom of it, and drive that into his head while I'm choking him out. Or I can move off to the side, hit him a couple times to try to get him off me, or grind it, drive it in him. Or worst case scenario, if it's a lethal situation, I'm going to deploy the knife on him using his body, and then I could go to work on him. So now we're going to show Joe doing it with me, who's much larger than him, and how fast he can get me off him and draw his firearm. Okay, in this next technique we're going to use to demonstrate the fist choke using the Desangut tool. Now, I'm going to use the trainer, the polymer trainer, when I actually show the technique on Joe, but I want to show you, just imagine what this is going to be like. So, same thing, he's in my guard, and I'm going to reach up around his neck, and then I'm going to take my Desangut, tuck it underneath, put it into his neck, and then I'm going to go like this. So you can imagine the Bram going into his throat and the pressure that's going to cause on him. So let me get the polymer trainer. So we're in this position. He's up on here. I pull around, I grab him around the neck, I put it in, and then I just put that pressure on and he'll tap. Go ahead. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to have Joe do that full go and just show you how effective that is. So again, you've got your around the head, reaching, you grab your own wrist, and then you bring this together, and that's going to go right into his neck. You can go to the side, you can do it from the side of his neck or into the throat, whatever you're going to be able to get in that particular scenario. In this demonstration, we're going to show Paul Vunak's rapid assault tactics using the trainer for the Desangut. And what I'm going to do is, because we have limited space here, I'm going to do a quick destruction with my elbow on his fist. And then I'm going to straight blast him using this. You can imagine that Bram hitting somebody in the face like this, and then I'm going to do a little bit of elbows, knees, and headbutts real quick, just to kind of give you an idea how effective this tool is, and not having to know anything different but what I utilize in my own technique, but putting this in my hand. In this technique, we're going to start out doing a Filipino drill called hubad, as we would train together all the time. And then Joe's going to go into an attack, and I'm just going to do what I normally would do in training, except that I have the Desangut in my hand, and it's going to have twice the effect that I would have if I was empty-handed. Now Joe and I are going to do a demonstration of Filipino drill called knife sumbrada, and we're going to show you what it looks like when you're doing it fast with two blades, and then we're going to show you how it's done using the tool, so the tool actually can deploy on every single angle of knife sumbrada. Now we're going to give you an example and a demonstration of how you use Bram Frank's Desangut tool to do the knife sumbrada, and to show you that the blade will deploy in every single angle of attack in the sumbrada drill. Another technique you could use is something called the flail. When the tool is open, you can flip it and hit with the Bram, and it's going to be, if you're kind of de-escalating and you don't want to use the edge of the blade, but it works very effective. So all you're really doing is you're hitting. And it doesn't bounce back because you have this thumb rest that really controls the blade from coming back. So it's very effective, and you can use it to de-escalate, particularly when you have control of the altercation. Here's an example of how you could use the Bram on the Bram Frank tool for pain compliance. So Joe's going to kind of walk through different things you could do. These are, you know, this is a lethal situation. These are the kinds of things you could do to somebody if you get behind them. Very, very nasty. You're talking about the mouth, the eye, the nose, the ear. And then also you could use the thumb rest and do similar kinds of technique as well. And it's just horrible for pain compliance, or again, you know, you wouldn't do this if somebody was on the road and you're flipping them off or cutting you off. This is going to be in a lethal altercation. Hope you enjoyed this video. Joe and I enjoyed the training that we did with you today. This tool, Bram Frank's Desangut tool, is so diversified in what you can do. It has so much optionality to it. We could spend all day showing you all kinds of techniques and integrate it into the systems that we use when we train. But it's great for law enforcement. It's great for civilians. And we have no affiliation with Bram Frank. And we're doing this because we think very highly of his training tools. So in any event, we'll hope to catch you on the next video, and train hard.